Hi, it's Marco, and in this video I want to tell you about P2P lending, but more specifically I want to get into the advantages of investing in business loans on P2P lending platforms. So you might know P2P lending if you're watching this channel, but just as a quick overview, it's basically the fact to invest on platforms where you invest in loans in exchange of interest over time. So on those platforms, there are two types of loans. The first one being consumer loans, so basically when loans are given to people, and also business loans, where it's actually granted to companies. So in this video, I really wanted to explore what are the advantages, or also the drawbacks of investing in those business loans rather than investing in consumer loans. So we'll first go over to those advantages and drawbacks, and then we'll actually see how to really start to invest in business loans, how to actually do it the right way, and how to get started. So first, and I really think that's the most important for an investor, there are much less risk involved in investing in business loans rather than consumer loans. Let me explain. When you actually invest in a consumer loan, it will be for something like, for example, buying a car. The company that will actually give the loan will assess the person's financial situation, usually based on what document they give to this agency or company. Mostly it's declarative, right? People say if how much they earn. People say like how many other loans they have at the moment. And also the financial situation of somebody can change really quick, right? You can lose a job, for example. So if you compare that to a business loan, where you actually give the loan to a business, for example, to finance some invoice or to make a new acquisition, you can actually look at the whole business financial situation, which is usually much more stable than a person. So therefore, there's much less risk of, for example, a loan going to default in a business loan rather than on a consumer loan. Also, as I already mentioned a bit, the whole due diligence process, so to assess the person or business solvability, right, before getting a loan, is really much easier to do on a business than on a person. On a person, you have all the privacy laws, for example, GDPR in Europe, that basically prevents any company to get information about people, right? That's a good thing because we want our privacy, but in the case of doing due diligence, it's a bad thing here. If you compare that to a business where, well, not only you will have all the documents that the business will actually give you, you can check a lot of things that are available publicly. For example, on government websites, on different websites that actually publish data about businesses. You will find a lot of public information, also social media presence, website. There's a lot of things out there about a business that you can use to do due diligence, and therefore it's much easier to do. It's much easier to assess the financial situation of a business rather than a person. Also, and for a bit the same reasons, you will get more stable returns from investing in business loans rather than investing in consumer loans. For the same reason, right? Because they are more stable, they are less likely to default, and therefore the outputs of all of this, the rates and the returns you will get from investing in those loans will be much more stable over time. So, are there any drawbacks at this stage? Well, there is one, and of course, because it's less risky, you also get slightly lower yields by investing in business loans. So if you get consumer loans, you will usually get more like 13-14% at the moment on some platforms, whereas for business loans, it's usually more about 9-10%. So you will still get, many platforms have the usual double digits that you can get from investing in P2P lending, but you have to note here that it's slightly lower than investing in consumer loans because you are also taking less risk. Finally, another advantage I want to mention before moving on to the next part is, well, by investing in business loans, you actually directly support companies, right? That can be local companies as well. And by actually providing them with financing, you actually support some actual company in growing and getting more opportunities. So that's another advantage I see as well. So now, that's all good, but what if you actually want to get started? Well, there is one platform that I've been investing myself for many years and that actually specializes in business loans. And this platform is called Debitum. So I want to illustrate how to invest in business loans using Debitum as an example. There are, of course, many other platforms that allow you to also invest in business loans, but usually you find a mix of business and consumer loans. Debitum is really specialized in those business loans. So you will get immediately all the advantages that I mentioned before. A great advantage of Debitum is that they are actually licensed. So this is a platform that actually got an investment brokerage license, meaning they have to follow a lot of strict regulation and also a lot of rules to protect the investors' money. That's a really great advantage over other platforms in the field. They also have decent yields, as I mentioned before, so you will find actually at the moment 10% of yield, and it's actually growing at the moment. I will come back on that at the end of the video. But what's important to say as well is that they actually propose this core offer called ABS for asset-backed securities, meaning they actually group business loans into packages of many loans in which investors can invest in, meaning not only you have the stable returns from business loans, but also because you invest in pools of loans. It's also worth to mention that Debitum so far had 0 defaults on the platform after 5 years of operation. That really illustrates how stable and safe those business loans are compared to consumer loans, and also the great work that they actually do to select those loans that they put on the platform. So when I talk about P2P lending platforms, I always like to talk about loan originators. They are very diversified. On Debitum, they have from countries like Estonia, the United Kingdom, and they recently added one more from Poland, which actually has higher interest rates. And for example, as a consequence, in the month of March 2023, so not far from the moment at which I'm recording this video, they actually had an average interest rate of 10.5% of the platform. So you definitely are now in the double-digit returns on the platform by investing in business loans with all the advantages I mentioned before. So now let's sum up what we saw in the video. So is it a good idea to invest in business loans on peer-to-peer lending platforms rather than consumer loans? Well, it's something I didn't even consider when I was starting to invest in peer-to-peer lending, because there was mostly consumer loans, to be honest. But now more and more I'm really considering shifting a large portion of my portfolio to business loans, because there is a lot of advantages and really small drawbacks. So you get much more stable returns, you have less or nearly 0 default that we saw on the Debitum platform. You also support your local economy or in the country where you actually invest, and well, there are slightly lower yields, but you can see you still get those double-digit yields that are typical from P2P lending by investing in those very safe loans. And if you want to get started in this, Debitum is really a platform that I would recommend, because I've been investing with them for over 4 years now. Never had any issue, even in the heart of COVID. They never had any default. They're a licensed platform, and you will get those double-digit returns that are actually growing at the moment. So if you want to get started in this field of investing in business loans, that's really a good platform to start with. So to actually get started, I put some links just below the video. You will find a link to Debitum if you just want to learn more about it. You will also find a link to my review of the platform that I have on my site that I update regularly with my latest results. And also, if you have any questions or comments, don't hesitate to leave them just below the video. And that being said, thank you again for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one.